YouTube town, which he calls Utter Creek. This is much bigger than what he's saying. We are mentally ill and unstable. I shouldn't have said that.
You should not have.
We're back in court where Crook has already thrown LIEnette under the bus, Marla Huge under the bus, a YouTuber who he doesn't even remember the right name. So for the sake of this argument, we'll call him Millhouse's Worst. That's not his real name. No need to search. We're not going to promote him at all. And his good buddy that he doesn't even know, Chris Holder. And he says he gave him this whole hate group of Jeremy Hales.
Due to our camera angles, I'm going to have the witness sit here instead of on the witness stand because we do not get a clear view on these witnesses.
My lawyer just called George as the next witness. This is going to be interesting because Crook's going to have an opportunity to cross-examine her. And according to his post on Facebook, he says he's got photos that he's already done such.
All right, ma'am, if you'll raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm to testify truthfully in this matter under penalty of law?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Heller, you may inquire.
Will you state your name and spell your last name for the record? Do you live with Mr. Hales?
Yes.
Do you live here in the state of Ohio?
Yes,
And also spend time in Otter Creek, Florida as well?
that is correct.
Have you been able to witness firsthand the harassment of Mr. Cook?
Yes.
What ways have you observed Mr. Cook harass Jeremy?
Through the video that Jeremy was able to take the day that they came encounter with each other, and whatever posts he posts online, whether it's regarding towards me or towards Jeremy.
Earlier we posted images of Mr. Cook claiming he had video with his clean mouth, excuse the language. Did you happen to see that post as well?
Yes.
How did that post make you feel?
Disgusted. It's a very vile post. Sickened. It's led to me going to counseling because of all the stress that this has caused and the vile post that he has made online publicly.
These two, particularly Crook, and yeah, LIEnette as well, have constantly harassed us with, oh man, I can't say the real word on YouTube. We'll just call it X. You know, things you used to do with your ex. We'll call it sexual harassment. And it's non-stop with these two.
And are you aware of Mr. Cook posting your address in Ohio publicly online?
I am aware of Miss Preston posting our address online and Mr. Cook posting that as well as his phone number.
And posting the phone number and
I object
address,
on that one.
Overruled.
Posting the phone number and address online, does that make you concerned for your safety?
Absolutely.
What is your fears?
Fear that people will stalk us, wait for us, whether it's here in Ohio or down in Florida, since we live there part of the year.
Extremely valid fear, as we've already been stalked. Now, I know there are those out there that are going, you know what, maybe I'll move to Otter Creek. Otter Creek doesn't need you to move to it.
And seeing the signs posted in your neighborhood calling, have you seen signs posted around Otter Creek regarding Jeremy?
Through pictures I have. The neighbors have sent us pictures.
And what do those signs typically read, if you know?
There was a total of 13 signs, and the ones that I've seen
I object.
call him a
So
rapist.
they never even seen these signs. Somebody posted. Forget it. I gotta say that again.
It amazes me how Crook and LIEnette continue to state that we've never ever seen these signs. And yet we even posted me holding the signs in my hand. As a matter of fact, George is sitting right next to all the signs in court right now. And all of those signs are here for Florida court, for the federal suit. The signs exist, every single one of them. Just because we weren't here in Florida when they put them up doesn't mean that they didn't happen, that we haven't seen them, and they're all in our possession.
Okay, withdrawn. Proceed.
Okay, and what did the signs or the photos of the signs say that you saw?
From my recollection, all of the posters have the word in it, Jeremy Hales, Ohio rapist.
And so again, linking Jeremy both to Ohio and Florida.
Correct.
And with the insinuation he's a rapist, what are your concerns about that?
Disgust from the folks that have posted it, the defamation and the libel that's involved, and inciting harm towards him because he is not what they say is on the poster.
We know LIEnette had somebody else do these signs with her. While we already have the nation's #1 forensic handwriting expert confirming that 100% LIEnette wrote half of these signs, there's somebody else out there floating that wrote the other half, an accomplice. And now we know that individual is probably watching right now, and that individual is probably living life in fear. You would too if LIEnette was throwing everybody under the bus left and right in court, and you know you're next. So here's the deal that I have for you, other person who we've narrowed down to a handful of just a few. Come forward and give testimony. Be a witness that LIEnette actually wrote these, or you're going to have the consequences once she throws you under the bus of all the legal liability.
Now, in about July this year, there was testimony that Mr. Cook took out and brandished this at Jeremy. Do you recall that?
Yes, in the video.
And living with Jeremy, how have you seen this effect?
So you never I object.
Hold on, he didn't ask her if she saw the interaction. He asked the witness how that event has affected Mr. Hales. I will allow that question.
It has caused stress between our relationship, with anxiety and fear for our safety. For the first time ever, I had to schedule an appointment to see a doctor to put him on medication because of everything that's going on and the high cholesterol or high blood pressure.
And you also helped to work to support his online content channel, is that fair?
Yes.
And so have you seen these posts from Mr. Cook be consistent month after month?
It has been consistent within the last 6 months.
And
I object.
Overruled.
And this consistent posting has made Mr. Hales feel scared, is that fair to say?
Correct.
Do you take any specific precautions when you leave the house because you're so scared by these posts?
Lots of prayer. We're just very, very cautious when we leave, and we are always checking our surroundings. And the biggest fear is returning to Florida when we go back for the winter.
Has this situation and escalation with Mr. Cook delayed your return to Florida?
Yes.
And you're hoping that there's some sort of order in place so that you can go back safely?
Yes, we plan to return back the first week of October, but with this court and the civil protection order, we're waiting to see what the judge grants before we decide.
I object.
Overruled.
Okay, so you're waiting on this court's decision before you return to Florida.
Correct.
And that's because of the behavior of Mr. Cook.
Correct.
And this has caused you to go to counseling as well?
Yes.
And so you're in fear because of the continuous pattern of behavior by Mr. Cook?
Yes. I feel that both Mr. Cook and Ms. Preston are both mentally unstable, and at any time they can pull out their gun and shoot at us.
I object.
They both carry a weapon, and they're both mentally unstable and have showed that in person.
I object especially to that unless she has proof of it.
This court hearing in itself is proof of the mental instability of Crook and LIEnette. The reality that they post over and over and over, they flood the world with proof, as if anybody needs any more proof that these two are unhinged. But if he actually wants more proof, he married somebody who's been married and divorced 6 times, pole dancer / minister, who tells the world that he is a abuser. Anybody who sticks around with that is not okay in the membrane.
Okay, this is her opinion. The court is not taking the words that Ms. says as expert testimony. So this is merely her opinion, and keeping in mind that ultimately I get to be the judgment of who I find is credible and if what they are saying is credible. That's my job here. So I appreciate that you have objected to that. I have overruled it. Put your next question, please.
And lastly, even after having been served with this protection order, has that stopped the online posting and harassment?
No.
Nothing further.
All right. Mr. Cook, do you have any questions for this witness based solely on the testimony that she has given?
So you say, all right, let me try to phrase this. So you never seen these signs in person. You've seen them online. So, well, I'll start with that.
Neighbors have sent us pictures of the posters that were posted in Otter Creek.
So you're basically, it's hearsay, and your neighbors could have posted, your neighbors could have made the signs. The one, we've got a couple that don't like this.
How stupid is this Neanderthal? He's literally saying your neighbor could have made the signs. No kidding! That's what we're in court! We're literally proving our neighbors made the signs.
The posters match the handwriting of Miss Preston.
And if they match the handwriting to Miss Preston, what does that have to do with me?
Answer the question, please.
I don't know how to answer that question.
Do you have any evidence that the posters were written by Mr. Cook?
No.
Okay, next question, please, Mr. Cook.
You posted, or you just said that we are mentally ill and unstable. Do you have proof of this?
I believe that this is my
Do you
this
have
is
proof
my
of it?
belief that
Hold on. Can you answer the question, yes or no?
no.
Okay, next question.
I didn't realize that I was going to be cross-examining her, so I don't remember the whole conversation, except that I objected to basically everything. Were you in the car with Mr. Hales when he says I brandished a gun and pointed it at him?
No.
So my question is, how can you testify that I did it?
Video evidence.
Now, this is some genius lawyering up, some counsel. I mean, you name it, detective work. Crook is all about it. I can see it now. Otter Creek, LIEnette and Crook, attorneys at law, will lie through our tooth for you.
Videos are altered.
That video was not altered.
Lee said it was.
Objection, hearsay, move to strike.
Sustained. Meaning she does not need to answer that question, and sir, you can put another question.
Trying to think here. Have you? Oh, sheesh! I didn't know she was going to be here. Have you and Jeremy posted online that you want my child removed so that you can adopt her?
No.
Have you and Jeremy ever called CPS on us 9 times between you and your fans? Actually, it's thousands of times.
His mathin' ain't mathin' either. How do you go from 9 and then you jump up to thousands? He must be taking classes with Mary Mathascary.
Objection, Your Honor.
Have you ever posted it? Because it's on video.
No.
Okay, you've answered.
So you never said that you guys called CPS or have your fans call CPS on them.
No.
Okay, that's it. It's gonna be lies anyways.
Okay,
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
you should not have.
I apologize.
I will
I
strike it.
apologize.
I will
I
strike it from the
apologize.
record, Mr. Heller. Any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, we'll rest.
All right, thank you.
All right, Martha, you can head
So,
out.
ma'am, you may step out or you may have a seat in the back of the courtroom since you have concluded your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you. So that rests plaintiff's case. We will move for admission of exhibits at the conclusion of all of the testimony. Mr. Cook, are you calling yourself as a witness?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to ask that you raise your right hand so I can swear you in, please. Do you swear or affirm to testify truthfully in this matter under penalty of law?
You.
You may so testify.
Get ready, because he's about to run you over with a big old bus. And I think LIEnette is driving.
Your Honor, Mr. Hale says that I contacted the LGBTQ community, which in fact I did not. It was put out by Milton. It was actually sent by Marla to Milton. Which, again, you have the paperwork. I did not put this out. This is a blatant lie by him. In fact, if you got the other words on it, it says how Millhouse all right.
Anybody want to guess how runk this rug addict is right now?
And actually, with this, and when he posted this, which you should have the information on it.
Hold on, Mr. Cook. I will tell you that you keep flashing something up on the screen.
This is the same thing you found, Your Honor. And then with what they wrote in there, Millhouse was preparing a.
Hold on. Stop talking for a second while I look through this
Okay.
stack, even though I said I wasn't going to. I'm doing
Sorry,
it
Your Honor.
again.
This creep can't even call his YouTube buddy by his right name. Now, there are some times when he uses the right name, we've ducked that out. And there are other times he's using a complete and total wrong name, and so we leave it in. We're not going to promote him. Now, what he's talking about is when he stalked me to my property as I flew back to Otter Creek, and then Brett Granger, Madam Mayor Teresa's husband, actually helped me with his truck to haul my trailer after I bought the bear and the elk and it was giant safe. It was in a unit here in Florida that I flew back for. So when I come off my property, there's Crook stalking me. He's trespassing. The vehicle's on my property, and he's filming. Everybody wants to know, Jeremy, you were holding a camera like this. Why haven't we seen that film yet? Is it because of the language? No. Language means nothing. Take any bad word in the English language, take it over to another country. It has no meaning, or it has a complete and total different meaning. The language has nothing. The reason, if you look, I wasn't even recording. All I did was got out and held, I didn't even have my phone with me. It was Brett's phone that I went up to him with. I'm like, man, just give me your phone. It'll go away. And so I wasn't even recording. But Crook did record. And we've used all of his recordings against him in court, proving that he trespassed and he threatened my life yet again.
I have looked through this stack of paper that was sent to the court via Federal Express. I do not see a paper that has a similar picture as to the one you were flashing up on the screen. So I will tell you that
it's what Millhouse wrote because he destroyed his website because he didn't want the interview to come out.
If Crook is somehow referring that we don't want to see, or I don't want to see an interview of him out there on the internet or LIEnette, he is so ridiculously wrong. Every time these two open their mouths, they make a post, they do a video, they further incriminate themselves. My goodness, the best thing in the world would be somebody to interview them. We would love it because we can't wait to use it in court against them.
So I will tell you that I am not going to allow that exhibit as I do not have it physically in front of me. So you may proceed with your statement.
Let's see. Basically all of his videos, the posts, are recreated by Jeremy Hales and his 6,000 fans he brags about, Your Honor.
Dude, hitting the rugs way too hard. 6,000? He's definitely being educated by Mary in the area of mathematics. No doubt whatsoever. Oh, let's not forget that LIEnette and Crook were the only fans that actually stalked us to the town where we live and intentionally bought property across the street from us. 6,000 fans? Frankly, I'm shocked we even have one.
They change our voices on the internet. They copy my post, which I had to read this morning, on how they screenshot my image and repost this stuff. And then he starts fights with his fans to get angry at us. It all comes down to creating content for him. All we are is a paycheck to him.
When's payday? Because I would love to get this paycheck. Thus far, I've spent over $125,000 because of them in legal fees. I've spent a crazy amount of money in increasing our security in our lives because of them. The only thing they have done as they've grifted, they've begged, they've scammed, they've conned, they've cost me more money than I could have ever utterly imagined. I've yet to receive a single penny from them. But he's getting a paycheck scamming the entire system based off of his dead wife and the child. He's getting the paychecks. I'm getting nothing but bills.
I don't know if you got the paperwork on it, but I can show, and I know you don't feel like digging, whatever, but we can show how his money, how much he was making before he started attacking Michelle and myself. And we're money to him. I mean, otherwise how would I have over 100 pages of posts that he has made if this wasn't true? And this is only some of them, Your Honor, that you have. There's a lot more, but we only had so much time after learning that we could send it in. I think we had one day, so...
Yeah, how could you have so many posts about them? I mean, they only stalked me here. They begged for money. We were patient with them for months to stop all of the garbage. They brandish firearms. They set up signs saying horrific things. They break civil protection orders on a daily basis. It was they who injected themselves into my life, not me into theirs. That's how it happens. And if they would have shut up, if they would have stopped, none of this would be online. Who was that creating videos stalking me on my own property? That was Crook. Your Honor, I'm nothing but a paycheck to him.
Again, the signs, they testified LIEnette did it, which I know she didn't do it. That has nothing to do with me. And they actually said they didn't see it in person, so basically anybody could have made those signs on us. I don't know if you've got it, Your Honor, that you probably do, but I believe that this is the gentleman who helped Jeremy Hales write the, excuse my language, in the mouth article, because he wrote the same thing to Michelle and added me in there as well. His name is Richard Willis. And if you just, I can just read it. It's on Jeremy's page, or no, it's not on Jeremy's, but it was sent to us.
If you feel it necessary, sir, you can read it.
All right, this is who I think that they planned the story with. It says, hey, I have pictures of my balls in John's mouth and my junk in your mouth. Don't make me bring them to the next town hall meeting. Isn't that your retarded husband wants to say about people? I hope in God above he saves that little girl from you and that child. That child, man, you call your husband. He's also phrasing, and he's probably another person that called CPS on us too, but it also proves that they're calling CPS on us. They've called IRS. They've called Fish and Game. There's not an organization this man hasn't harassed me with.
This is the same John Crook who has posted publicly all over the internet before this hearing and after this hearing that I have not contacted any agencies whatsoever. It's all lies. But now he's under oath stating that there's no agency that I haven't contacted. So which is it?
Again, this isn't about what he's trying to do. This is about trying to silence my voice for the illegal activities that he's doing in this town of Otter Creek. That video he showed you doesn't show everything. It shows me stating that I have caught him and the town's mayor's husband working together, and he's suing the town of Otter Creek, and the mayor wants to make a quick payoff to him. This is much bigger than what he's saying.
I will note that the court does have in its possession that Facebook post from Richard Willis. I will mark that as Defendant's Exhibit 2.
Yes, thank you. And again, all these posts, they recreate everything. They recreate our voice. They do everything. It's all an intimidation to silence our voices, because if he can silence my voice here, he gets away with the mayor and the vice mayor. They want to unincorporate the town of Otter Creek and bankrupt it so he can have his YouTube town, which he calls Otter Creek. He actually makes fun of us as residents. He wants to invite all his residents, all his fans down here, because they're putting in RV park for it. He wants to put spaces on his property. Again, this goes much bigger, Your Honor. And it comes down to he's trying to silence mine and Michelle's voices.
Does that conclude your testimony, sir?
Yes, it does.
Mr. Heller, any questions for this witness?
I'll keep it very brief, Your Honor. Mr. Cook, you had an argument with Mr. Hales, correct?
Did I have an argument with Mr. Hales?
Yep, we saw a video. Mr. Hales was driving by in his truck. You were yelling at him, calling him a pussy. Is that correct?
Did he show the beginning of the video when he's yelling out in front of my house, which brought me out from the house, from the camper, because he was out in the street?
Mr. Cook, you
That's
saw
not
the
the whole
same
video.
video that we saw. Now, in that
It's
video,
not the
you were
whole
there.
video.
Is that
Hold
correct?
on. Hold on. This is not a conversation. So wait for Mr. Heller to finish his question. You can
Okay.
answer the question.
You saw that video. Is that correct?
Yes, I seen it.
And you had a gun in your pocket that day. Is that correct?
I came out with a gun in my pocket because somebody was yelling and screaming in front of my house. Yeah, I have a daughter. I have a 4-year-old daughter who I care about and I protect. And Michelle, I don't need a crazy man in my front yard.
And in your conversation with Mr. Hales, you took that gun out.
I took that gun out because I had a hole in this pair of shorts and it slipped in there, so I brought it out and I put it back. I got it out of the hole.
Remember, he lied to the Levy County deputy, stating he never had a gun. And then when the deputy says, I've already solved the film, then he admits to it. Then he and LIEnette come up with this convoluted story that he tripped in a hole, there's a hole in his pocket, and that I'm yelling and screaming. Now, you can go back and look at all the videos. They're all under the playlist Otter Creek. I'm filming the hazards on the property, not saying a single word. He comes out, he starts yelling and screaming, brandishes the firearm at me, points it at me, and then the verbal altercation goes on. Then the deputy is called. Then he lies to the deputy, and now he's telling the truth in court under oath? Or is he just telling half the truth? There's no hole in his shorts. There's definitely a huge gaping hole in between his ears because there's no brains in there.
And in addition to that, there's another time you waited to see people leave Mr. Hale's house. Is that correct?
I waited outside of I was coming back with, I forgot my credit card. I went to the store and I caught him and I caught him and the mayor's husband. They're working together, which proves a legal point again here in Otter Creek. And he got immediately offensive because he was caught. And that's not the whole video. If you want to see the whole video, except where he comes around my car and threatens, and he's got his phone over by my window, which he cut out.
So just to be clear, Mr. Cook, yes or no, you were waiting outside Mr. Hale's property for him to leave?
No, I was driving by. I forgot my credit card. Michelle took it out of my wallet.
Okay.
And I was coming back, and I just stumbled across it. That's all.
And you started videotaping him?
Your luck.
He's so dumb, he's the one that forgets that he posted when he actually saw me driving by. He's barefoot, has nothing to do with a credit card, has nothing to do with going to a store. Now, we've shown it before, but it's really important that we show it again because we're going after charges for everything we possibly can against LIEnette and Crook. And perjury is huge. He's under oath, he's a pathological liar, and his own videos, oh my goodness, I wish we could see an interview of them on YouTube. It would be incredible to use against them in court. But his own video proves that he's perjured himself yet again.
Well, I'm heading over to Jeremy's house. I think I just seen the mayor's husband taking stuff to Jeremy. Yes, there he goes. Yep. We'll wait for him to come off the property. And I'm glad I did because I caught him in illegal activity.
And you started yelling at him?
If you watch the beginning of the video, he's coming and threatening me right off the bat, right out of his car. If you don't see the whole video.
Okay, and you start saying, touch my truck and see what goes bang.
I told him that was at the end of the video, which he won't show again because that's got him in my driver's side window, coming at me, which I didn't have a gun on me, and I felt threatened. So by saying the words bang, bang, it made him back up. So, yeah.
Okay, and in addition to that, you're on Facebook, is that correct?
Am I on Facebook? When I have time and I'm not taking care of my tortoise rescue.
And you post regularly about Mr. Hales.
No, I don't.
We've seen
If
some
you
of
can
the
prove
posts.
it, I'd like to see these posts from day to day that I keep hearing about.
You saw the post that we put it as exhibits.
What do you got? 3 posts from 8 months?
And in addition to those posts, you're making obscene comments about, is that correct?
I didn't make those. I told you they generate those posts. And they generate my voice. It's not me.
And you're an administrator for a group called For Ex-Fans of Mr. Hales?
I started it and I turned it over within a couple weeks, and Chris, I don't want to mention his last name because his fans will attack them. They'll attack him.
Concerned about being attacked, yet brave enough to have an we hate Jeremy Hales, and it proves and it shows Chris Holder and John Crook are the administrators. Brave enough to have that hate page, but scared of an attack. Oh, by the way, all the posts about him saying that he has his little tic-tac in George's mouth, that's all over Shark's stuff as well. He can't get out of any of this. It's a lie after lie after lie. What he can get into is jail. And we're going to do everything we can, possibly, to get him there.
And they already took down that page.
Nothing.
Yeah, he took it over.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Cook, do you have any other witnesses?
No, I can't have witnesses because Mr. Hales will threaten them and put them in the position that I'm in.
Okay.
So they don't want to come on.
So that is a no. So we're going to do the admission of exhibits. Plaintiff, you are moving for admission of your exhibits A through K. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And Mr. Cook, I know you have made various objections to the exhibits as we were going through them. Do you have any additional objections to make at this time regarding those exhibits?
I don't even remember what the exhibits were, Your Honor.
Okay. So then I'm
There's
going
so many.
Okay, then I'm going to allow the admission of those exhibits, keeping in mind that you had made objections as we were going along.
Oh, I have to object about them? Well, again, you have to put that, I have to see them and post on it, or say on each one of them. I don't remember A, B through J, A through J. I have no clue.
Okay. And Mr. Cook, do you think your objections that you would make here would be any different than the objections you made during the testimony?
Besides, I mean, they would change a bit because I don't want to say you cut me off because that would be naughty. They're just, I mean, all his posts are recreated to start a war. I'm money for them. We're money.
Okay. So at this point, I am going to allow the admission of exhibits A through K with the objections noted from Mr. Cook. For the defense, sir, are you seeking to admit the exhibits 1 and 2 that you discussed during your testimony? I'm talking to you, Mr. Cook.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Are you seeking to admit exhibits 1 and 2 that you discussed during your testimony?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to object to both of them. Exhibit 1 is a post from someone named Nori there was no authentication that that's Mr. Hales. So that entire post there, Mr. Hales also denied saying that that was him. So there's nothing on that post on its face or through testimony that in any way indicates that that's Mr. Hales. Also, post number 2 was a post from a completely separate person that is not Mr. Hales and has nothing indicating that Mr. Hales initiated the post, asked for it to be made, or anything of the sort. Therefore, that's also hearsay and it's inadmissible.
Okay. Any response to that, Mr. Cook?
Everything I posted is the truth, Your Honor. I gotta see. I especially want the Richard one in the room.
Okay, I'll tell you what, let me make this easier for you, Mr. Cook. I am going to allow the admission of the exhibits. I will give them the weight that I deem necessary as I am considering this matter. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to allow the
All right,
admission
Your
of
Honor.
those exhibits. Okay. Are we clear, Mr. Cook?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I was just looking here and seeing when my court date here is with him. Okay.
Crook never had a Florida court date with me whatsoever. Now he does now because I'm suing him in federal courts for extortion, for defamation, for perjury. The list kind of goes on and on. You can get the feel of it. He's never, ever had anything in Florida against me for court. LIEnette ran to the courthouse after we got our civil protection orders to try and get an injunction. But it has absolutely nothing to do with Crook.
Okay. And I will also reiterate that this court is going to take this matter under consideration. There was an ex parte order that was issued. That ex parte order remains in full effect until this court makes any further order. So what that means, Mr. Cook, is you should have no contact in any way with Mr. Hales or the protected party, which is more. You understand that?
I don't have any contact with him.
You can just say yes.
Yes.
Okay. That concludes this hearing. The court will hold this matter until after that briefing schedule, and then we'll make a determination based on the testimony and evidence that's been presented. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yep.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Take care.
The judge did grant civil protection orders, permanent civil protection orders against LIEnette and Crook, and they've both broken and violated them a number of times. Next, it's going to be the violation or contempt of court charges with LIEnette and Crook. We're far from being over.